Hey everyone, how's it going? So, you're riding with Kenny. I'm actually on my way to pick up my grandkids up in a couple towns over. My daughter can't pick them up, and my son-in-law can't pick them up either. He got stuck on a job, and she's a deputy sheriff, so she's got the late shift. Anyway, so I got to go pick them up. Beautiful old Volkswagen. Anyway, I don't know if you just saw it, the blue one. What do I want to talk to you about today? I want to talk to you about basic maintenance and preventive maintenance, okay? A lot of people will go to a shop, get their work done, and then the shop's going to try to tell you that, hey, you need a transmission service, you need a brake fluid flush, you need an induction service, you need an injection service, you need a power steering flush, stuff like that. And people, for some reason, think that, oh, the shop's just trying to rip me off. Well, it's called preventive maintenance for a reason. And because it helps prevent breakdowns. Is it a guarantee it's going to prevent breakdowns? No, absolutely not. But it helps increase the longevity, the life of your car. Oil changes are the absolute drop-dead last thing you should neglect. You really need to do your oil changes on time. You really need to check your oil often, okay? Now, if you check your oil, say, every 500 miles, okay? You check it at 500 miles, it's fine. You check it at 1,000 miles, it's fine. You check it at 1,500, I need a half a quart. Okay, well, if that's a consistent issue, then maybe you could check your oil every 1,500 miles. But try to remember to do that. My kids, I tell them, every couple of times you go to a gas station and get gas, check your oil, okay? Just check your oil. Every Saturday when you go out to your car, check your oil. If you do it consistently, you won't forget. And trust me, you're going to be thankful that you're doing it because it prevents you from having issues. It prevents you from blowing your engine up because now all of a sudden you realize, hey, I need oil. Many cars nowadays don't have low oil level sensors. I don't know why they did away with them. They came out with them in the 90s and they were using them for a while and then they kind of faded away again. You don't know you're low on oil until your oil light comes on. And when your oil light comes on, that's not good. The oil light comes on because you have no oil pressure, okay? You have no oil pressure because you're low on oil, okay? That's not a good sign. That's when damage happens to your engine. As oil starts getting low, it gets lower faster over a period of time. Like if it took, say 1,000 miles to use up a quart of oil, and you don't add any oil, and you had 5 quarts, now by the time you get to 2,000 miles, you probably used 2.5 quarts of oil. You know what I mean? It's a vicious cycle, and it goes faster as the fluid level goes down. Me personally, I change my oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles religiously on everything I own. 3,000 to 5,000. I don't care if I'm running synthetic blend, conventional oil. It doesn't matter to me. I will still change it. I hear people say, oh, but my car, it doesn't call for an oil change for 12,000 miles. That's great. Good for you. Fantastic. Do what you want to do. Who pays the price for it in the end? You do. You pay the price in the end because you're the one that has the damaged engine. Do you think your manufacturer cares about you once you're out of warranty? No, they don't. They don't care about you. So the reason they put scheduled maintenance at such a high point, number one, it reduces their emissions footprint, okay? Because you're not putting that dirty oil into the system, so to speak. You're not having to change oil and use oil. So it reduces their footprint, okay? With the EPA and stuff like that. The next thing is, it's cheaper to own the car. Your cost of ownership is less if they can say that you can go 12,000 miles on an oil change. Now, they say 12,000 miles, okay? If the warranty ends at 36,000 miles, you just did 3 oil changes in 36,000 miles. To me, that's insanity, okay? I would have done 11, 12 oil changes by that time. Once your warranty is expired, they don't care. And if you have an aftermarket warranty, okay? If you have an aftermarket warranty, you better be keeping your receipts because they're going to want to see. If, let's say you blow your engine and you have 100,000 miles on it, okay, and you've only done however many oil changes that equates to, 6 or 7. I don't know, I'm not super good on math when I'm driving. So if they open up your engine and they see sludge, because a lot of times they want you to take the valve cover off or something like that, hey, what was the oil level and condition when the engine exploded, stuff like that. They want to know that. And you know what? Even if you show receipts, but it shows that it's all sludged up, they can decline the claim. Those warranties are just an insurance company. That's all they are. And they are there to make money. They're not there to fix your car for free. They are there to make money. They are banking on the fact that your car is not going to break. Okay? That's what they're banking on. And when it does break, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they don't have to cover the repair. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Me, 3,000 to 5,000. Don't care if it's synthetic. Don't care if it's conventional. I don't care if I got my oil from Dollar General. I don't care if I got my oil from Pennzoil. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's Mobil 1. I'm doing it 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Don't care. Okay? So that's first and foremost. Check your oil. Make sure you check your oil. Even if you think to do it like every Saturday morning or every Sunday morning or whatever, when you go out to mow your lawn or when you go to do something that you do every single week, check your oil, that one day. If your oil level never changes, you can, go a little further out on it. That's fine. That's fine. But just keep it in mind that you need to check your oil. Set a calendar date. Check your oil. I can't tell you how many times we get cars in where there's no oil on the stick. And it's like, yes, this is how I make money. I earn a living by fixing your cars. However, believe it or not, I don't like it when I see that people have neglected their vehicles and it's created a problem for them. That actually bothers me. I feel bad for people. I shouldn't feel bad because to me, honestly, that's stupidity. But it is what it is. A lot of people don't know they need to check their oil. Not sure how nobody realizes that, but it's the truth. Maybe when they buy the car from the dealership or whatever, they never think to check the oil or the dealer never tells them to check the oil. I don't know. Me, I try to beat it in people's heads, as you know. Next thing, when you're at a shop or whatever, and they're recommending, let's say, like a transmission or service or something along those lines, transmission service, transmission flush, is it something you should do? Yes, I do agree. It is something you should do. Now, my Dodge Caravan has 300,000 miles on it. It has the original fluid in the transmission still. I've never serviced it. I bought it with 90-something thousand miles on it, and I never serviced it. The reason I didn't is because at 90-something thousand miles, I thought to myself, well, you know what? If this transmission is going to blow up, it's going to blow up soon. Somewhere between the 90,000 and 120,000. So I actually got an extended warranty on it when I first bought it, because I bought it through the dealership that I worked at. So I got the extended warranty on it. The transmission never failed. I really was certain it was going to fail. So now I got 300,000 on it, and it's still fine. I am going to change the transmission fluid and filter, or maybe just a filter, I don't know. I am going to drop the pan on it because I'm really curious to see what's in there. But I'm probably worried now that the filter itself is starting to get plugged up. Not that I'm experiencing any problems. I'm not. Everything seems to be fine. But I just want to do that just to be on the safe side. Actually, not even on the safe side. I'm going to do it basically to make a video, in all honesty. But on your average vehicle that has a regular automatic transmission, not a CVT, a regular automatic transmission, I would say 50 to 60,000 miles, change the transmission fluid. You do that every 50, 60,000 miles, you should be fine. They tell you have lifetime fluid. There's no such thing as lifetime fluid. It's lifetime fluid because once the transmission is done for, that's the end of its life. Okay? That's the end of its life. So the life is over, lifetime is over, okay, and it lasted as long as we said it would. It was going to last the life of the transmission. You know what? The transmission failed at 120,000 miles. So that's the end of the life of the transmission, right? If you have a vehicle with a CVT, change it every 30,000 miles. Even if you just do a drain and fill. Most of those CVTs don't even have a mesh or like a paper type filter on the inside, like a filter media. They usually have a screen. Most CVTs, not all. So changing the filter on one that has like a screen, it's really not worth it. I could never understand the reason for a screen anyway, to be honest with you. A screen is really only good for, if you have like large particles, large chunks in there. But if you got large chunks in there, you got more problems than just needing a filter. If you do just a drain and fill every 30,000 miles on your CVT, and let's say every 60,000 miles you change the filter, you'll be fine. You'll be golden. Not going to guarantee that it's going to last any longer, but I've seen plenty of CVTs last to 200,000 miles by doing that. The people that don't do that, they don't last. The people that beat the snot out of a CVT, those don't last. The people that drive them too easy, those don't last. The people that drive spiritedly, those last. Those last. I've seen those, go pretty well. 140, 150,000 miles without servicing them, that is. But those people that do service them, they do last. I'm not a CVT fan. You know that from my other videos. Brake fluid flushes. Okay, brake fluid flushes. Yes. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. I think that's the right word, right? It absorbs the moisture in the air. Brake fluid should be serviced every year or 2 years, something like that. It really is not mileage dependent, to be totally honest with you. It's more age dependent. So I would say if you did it every 2 years, you're probably fine. Because what happens too is, not only does it pick up the moisture in the air, it picks up like dirt that's in the air too, because it's got a breather through the cap. Many people don't realize that there's a breather there. It has to be there to allow the fluid to get sucked down as the brake pads wear. If your brake light comes on and your fluid is low, more than likely your pads are worn out. So if that happens, don't just add fluid to it. You didn't fix the problem. All you did was put the light out. Okay? Normally, that's what happens. Your pads wear out, the brake light comes on because now the fluid is taking up the space of the worn pads. Hold on. Getting a call. One thing I forgot to mention in this video, I'm actually making this part later, and I'm putting it in now because I'm reviewing it and realized I forgot it. Differential services, front, rear, and then doing transfer case services. Yes, I highly recommend it. Now, as far as rear differentials go, if you have a limited slip, posi unit, posit traction, whatever you want to call it, if you have, or track lock, whatever you want to call it, you have a limited slip rear differential, I strongly recommend changing the fluid at around 15,000 miles after the initial break-in. And then you can change it every 30,000 miles. If you do a lot of towing, you may want to consider doing it every 15,000 miles. Gear oil breaks down. There's no filter or anything in there. So you may want to change it every 15 to 30,000 miles. 30,000 miles would be the max. My own truck here, my Dodge, I changed the rear diff fluid when I first got it, and I changed it again at some point. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it's coming up due for it. But I'm going to be changing the gears in the rear end of this thing anyway, because it's got 355s, and it's just not good for towing. This thing's a real slug. So I want to put a set of 391s in it, just to change the gear ratio and amplify the torque a little bit. Anyway, so what you want to do is you want to service it, say, every 30,000 miles. If you're just a highway driver, your basic cruiser, you don't really do anything with it, every 50,000 is fine. Transfer cases, I would say every 50, 60,000 miles, change the fluid. Now, if you have an all-wheel drive, a full-time all-wheel drive, I would change the fluid in the transfer case every 30,000 miles. There's clutches in there, and the clutches are constantly activated, so they constantly have a slip to them, because what happens is the fluid will break down over time, and you can wind up with chatters and stuff like that on acceleration or in turns. So I would strongly suggest it. Wow, that thing sounds terrible. I would strongly suggest it every 30,000 miles. Front differentials, they usually take a lot less abuse. I would say service them every 60,000 miles. Like, this truck is a rear-wheel drive. Even though it says 4x4 on the tailgate, somebody put that on there before I bought it. I just never took it off. It's got no front diff. Obviously, it's got no transfer case. But the rear differential, like I said, I'm going to service it again, but I'm going to change the gears back there. So it's something to consider. That's just one thing. So I'm going to add this at some point in the video. So if you wonder, like, how come this popped up out of the blue, now you know why. Sorry, my granddaughter just tried to call me because I'm picking them up from school. They just got out. I'm almost there. What was I talking about? I said about brake fluid and brake pads wear out, stuff like that. And the fluid does absorb, dirt and stuff in the air, kind of like how your air filter filters out dirt that's in the air. Well, your brake fluid will absorb that, and it has a tendency to go to its furthest point in the brake system, like down to your wheel cylinders or calipers in the rear, and then in the calipers in the front. So flushing your brake fluid, yeah, I do recommend it. Doing an induction service. An induction service means you're cleaning the throttle body and like the air intake system into the engine. Yes, that does help. It really does help. However, I usually don't do that. I usually don't recommend that unless somebody's experiencing a problem. If you have no issues with your driving, your gas mileage is fine, skip it. You don't need that. Fuel injection cleaning. The fuels nowadays that you use in your car are so good, there's no reason to do a fuel injection service unless you're having a problem. So there again, it's not something that I normally recommend. Only time I do is when there's issues arising or there's a problem with the vehicle where I think it may help. That's really it. Power steering fluid flushes. Yes, if you have a hydraulic power steering system, it could be electric hydraulic, it could be full electric, which doesn't have any fluid. But if you have electric hydraulic or full hydraulic, you have a fluid in there. And yes, a service will extend the life of it. It will make the system last longer, and it'll help prevent leaks too, because the fluid does break down. And I have seen where doing a service has eliminated the whine in a power steering system. I've seen it on, well, obviously Chrysler, because I was very familiar with Chrysler product because that's where I worked. I had plenty of times where cars would come in with a whining power steering and people would say, oh, it needs a pump. Well, you know what? Let's try a service first. Do a service, and sure enough, it cleared it up. So now my grandson is messaging me. I don't know why, but anyway, so I am almost at the school. Next thing, spark plugs. Spark plugs. Most spark plugs will last 100,000 miles nowadays. Change your spark plugs. Even if you're not having an issue, change your spark plugs. Because as your spark plugs wear, they build up resistance. The resistance in the spark plug can affect the coil, it can burn out coils. The coils themselves can build up some resistance, but you can take out the driver that's in the PCM. That's what's called a driver that actually actuates the coil to fire the spark plug. You can actually damage the driver in the PCM. I've seen it happen many, many times because people just decide, hey, I'm not going to change the spark plugs because my car is running fine. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're just asking for trouble. So anyway, that's kind of it. I just wanted to touch on all those subjects there. But I think this is a good point. I think these are all good points that I made. All right, guys. I hope you got something out of that. I hope I helped you out. Anyway, that's about it. I'm just about pulling up to the school now. I hope you guys have a great day. Look down in the description below. You'll see links to Amazon products. They help keep this page alive. So if you click on them, great. If you buy something, even better. I do get a very small percentage. It's not my own store or anything like that. Anyway, that's it. All right, guys. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.